All right, so here's a couple questions in Delta Math. First of all, it says in this problem, you'll use a ruler to estimate the length of segment AC. Afterwards, you will be able to see the length of the other two sides, and you will use Pythagorean Theorem to check your answer. So measure the length of AC. Move the ruler with the blue dot, rotate or lengthen the ruler with the green dot. You may zoom or shift. So blue dot on A, green dot on C, and it looks like my length came out to be about 6.2. Remember, decimals and centimeters is good, 6.2. Perfect. So once I click try, notice the other two sides came up. So now I can use Pythagorean theorem. Pythagorean theorem says, right, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Now they have the picture labeled wonderfully. So if this is angle A, typically we call this side A. If that's angle B, we call this side B. And if this is the right angle C, we call this the hypotenuse C. So just fill your numbers in. So 3.4 squared plus b squared equals, and that should be a squared, sorry, equals 7.1 squared. I will square 3.4 separately right now. So 3.4 squared, that's 11.56. I'll leave b squared alone, and I'll square 7.1. That's 50.41. And now to get b squared by itself, I will subtract 11.56. They cancel, b squared comes down. 50.41 minus 11.56 is 38.85. And then to get rid of this squared, you take the square root. Remember, it would be plus or minus, but we're not doing with negative length, so we don't need the plus or minus. And your b comes out to be, and the square root of 38.85 is, and it says round to 3 decimals, so I'll put 4 on my paper, 6.2329. That 9 makes that 2 become a 3. So my answer should be 6.233. Very close to what I used with a ruler. Again, I want to have the gratification of the green check mark. Oh yeah, loving it. All right, next problem coming. All right, so here we go. It says find the third side in simplest radical form. So this is going to be a good review of what simplest radical form means. So this is a right triangle. We can use Pythagorean theorem. I'm going to call this A. I'm going to call this B. And again, because this is the right angle, the unknown side is C. So we use Pythagorean theorem, A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Okay, so my A is the square root of 59. So square root of 59 squared plus B is 15 squared, and that is C squared. Now, the square root of 59 is just 59. So in my calculator, so don't square the 59, they cancel. So in my calculator, I'm going to do 59 plus 15 squared. Notice I do it at the same time because they're both on the left side of the equal sign. This you can combine all at once. Now you can put in the square root of 59 squared, but again, the square root and the squared cancel, and 59 is just 59. So 59 plus 15 squared is 284, and that is C squared. So we need to take the square root of both sides, and I'll do the square root of 284, and oh bummer, I get a decimal. They don't want a decimal, they want simplest radical form, so we got to break 284 down. So let's do it. So now remember, I like to use the primes, 2, 3, 5, 7. It ends in 4, so I know 2 goes in there. 2 goes into 284, 142 times, and 2 is prime. I know 2 goes into 142, 71 times. And I'm thinking 71 might be prime. I know 2 doesn't go into it. 3 does not go into 71. 5 doesn't. Does 7? No. 11 doesn't. Does 13? No. Does 17? No, I'm going to assume that 71 is also prime. I hope it is. We'll see. It'll tell me in a second. So C is going to be the square root of 2 times 2 times 71. Remember, there's an index of 2 here that we never write. The only way you come out of a square root is if you're squared or appear twice. Those two 2's appear twice. 1 comes out. They both go away. The 71 stays. 2 square root of 71. 2 square root of 71. I hope I'm right. Cross fingers. Oh yeah, beautiful. There we go. Okay. Maybe one or two more problems coming. All right, you have three word problems. I'm going to look at this one with you. Okay, so it says you start driving north for 27 miles. You then turn right and drive east for another 36 miles. At the end of driving, what is your straight line distance from your starting point? I think this is a very clever problem, right? So let's recall in a map, right? Here's my compass: north, south, east, west. So here's my starting point right there. Call it P, the point. It says you drive 27 miles north, then you turn right to drive east 36 miles. And the question is, what is this distance going to be? That's the question. Well, when you turned right, you made a right angle. This is a Pythagorean Theorem question. I'll let 27 be A. I'll let 36 be B, and my question mark is C. So use Pythagorean Theorem. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. That's 27 squared plus 36 squared equals C squared. I'll type that left side in all at once. 27 squared plus 36 squared. That is 2025. That is what C squared is. And I will take the square root. And the square root of that is going to be 45. C is 45, and that'd be miles. 45 miles. Oh, yeah. All right, two more problems coming. All right, here's the next one. This is a pretty common Pythagorean Theorem question. If you place a 40-foot ladder against the top of a 24-foot building, how many feet will the bottom of the ladder be from the bottom of the building? Okay. So in this problem, you have a building. So this building is 24 feet tall. You have a ladder going up to that building. That ladder is 40 feet long. And you want to know this distance right here. What is the distance along the ground between the bottom of the ladder and the bottom of the building? Well, again, there's your right angle. We assume the building is perpendicular to the ground. And here's Pythagorean Theorem. Let's let our question mark be A, 24 is B, and then 40 is your hypotenuse C. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So A squared plus 24 squared equals 40 squared. Now, because they're on opposite sides of the equal sign, do them separately. So 24 squared is 576. 40 squared is 1600. Get A squared by itself by subtracting 576. So A squared is 1024. And then you're going to take the square roots. And the square root of that answer is 32. So the ladder is 32 feet from the bottom of the building. Oh, yeah. All right, last problem coming. All right, so here's our last problem. It says, which of the following sets of numbers could represent the three sides of a right triangle? Now, be very careful. It could also say would not or could not, so be aware. So only one of these is going to work in Pythagorean Theorem. So this is very much a calculator-based problem. All right, I'm going to call this choice A, choice B, choice C, and choice D. So all you're going to do is you're going to take the two smaller sides, you're going to square them, add them together, and see if you get the biggest side squared, right? So for A, I need to see, does 33 squared plus 43 squared, does it equal 55 squared? Well, 33 squared plus 43 squared is 2938. And 55 squared is 3025. So no, they're not equal, so it's not choice A. B was 12 squared plus 16 squared. Does it equal 20 squared? Well, let's see. 12 squared plus 16 squared is 400. 20 squared is 400. They are equal. Yes. B is going to be my choice. And you can try the other two, but they're also not going to work. So your choice here is choice B. And again, this is going back to the converse, testing Pythagorean theorem to see if it would be a right triangle. There we go. All right, good luck on this homework. Should be a good assignment. Just be careful. Are you trying to find the hypotenuse or are you trying to find a leg?